Hey friends, welcome back. Today I'm going to be telling you about my top 10 favorite romance books, and this list is coming from a girl who thought that she would never be a romance reader, but that was because I didn't know what was out there. So if we tend to agree on other genres, maybe try some of these out if you're looking to try out some new romance books. I recently did a video where I talked about my top 12 favorite fantasy standalone novels, so check that one out too. I think I'm going to be doing like every genre eventually. Without further ado, let's get into it. This first one, don't click away because I know that y'all are gonna be like, oh, Emily Henry. Yeah, okay, Emily Henry is who made me realize what romance books could be like. Emily Henry is my girl, all right? I didn't know that a romance book could be like Beach Read. Beach Read is the book that opened up my eyes to romance, so it has to be on this list. At the bare minimum, it also had points already for me because the main characters are writers, and I love when the protagonists are artistic people. And Beach Read, if you don't know, are about our two main characters who are writers. They actually find themselves at neighboring beach houses in Michigan. Our female main character is January and she writes best-selling romance, and our male main character is Gus and he writes literary fiction. But both of them are experiencing writer's block, so they decide to swap genres and see who can write a best-selling novel first. And it says the risk is that in telling each other's stories, their worlds might be changed entirely. I love it. I think Emily Henry is a saint amongst mortals. The romance was great. The conversations were great. It made me realize that romance isn't all just spice. Like there can be more heavy topics discussed, and I get into that a little bit more with some of my other choices because I do love like a darker, more serious romance book. This one isn't exactly that, but it opened up my mind to like what it could be, you know? Beach Read will forever be my favorite. And speaking of romances that touch on more serious, like heavier topics, if you have not read 7 Days in June by Tia Williams yet, I don't know what you're doing. This book tore me down and built me back up. Well, I had to build myself back up. It tore me down. But who I was after this book was so grateful. I love that I was able to read this book. This is going to be funny, but these two main characters are also writers. There might be a slight trend here. Female main character Eva writes best-selling erotica, and our male main character Shane writes, I think, just literary fiction. It just says award-winning novelist. They unexpectedly meet at this literary event in New York City. Sparks fly, and all of the literary people around them are like, whoa, what's going on? Come to find out, Eva and Shane have a history. When they were young, they spent 1 week like madly in love. And it says, while they may be pretending not to know each other, they can't deny their chemistry or the fact that they've been secretly writing to each other for years. If that isn't the most romantic thing you've ever heard, then you're lying. You're lying. And then over the next 7 days in this steamy Brooklyn summer, Eva and Shane reconnect. But Eva's wary of the man who broke her heart and wants him out of the city so her life can return to normal. But before he disappears, though, she needs a few questions answered. There are some trigger warnings for this book, which if you are sensitive to certain topics, maybe look up the trigger warnings because I wasn't expecting some of them and they hurt. They hurt me a lot. Yeah. The topics discussed and things that are on page are hard, but I, again, am just so grateful that I was able to read this book. It is forever in my top 10. I love it so much. Okay, we're gonna go back to kind of like a silly, goofy one. We're gonna try to splice in the heavy ones. Listen, if you were to tell me like 5 years ago that I would read a book that had the title of Dreamland Billionaires, I would laugh in your face because that does not sound like me. Like literally, yeah, right. But The Fine Print by Lauren Asher is on this list. Guys, I love this book with my whole self. I really do. This is the first in a trilogy. I don't really like the other two books that much. The other two were fine. They were fine. This first one, 5, 6 stars. Second one, 3 to 4 stars. Third one, solid 4-star. But listen, The Fine Print, at least read this one, please. Each book in this trilogy has like different tropes that you can look into. This situation is a set of 3 brothers. Each book is following a different brother. This one is Rowan. Their grandfather, who owns, basically it's like Disneyland, right? He dies and is going to be giving his shares of the company to his family. However, there are 3 tests that his grandfather has given each of his grandsons, and in order for them to get their share of the company, they have to complete their task. So each book is following each brother completing their task. If all of them don't complete their task, then their shares go to their father, and their father we don't like. He's bad. And this is the story of Rowan and Zara. And I just love their chemistry, their banter. I ate it up. I don't typically like billionaire romances. Like, I don't think that I'm ever drawn to them, but for whatever reason, this really worked for me. Next, we have The Charm Offensive by Allison Cochran. A lot of these books are directly counteracting previous statements I've made. I don't like Hollywood, I don't like celebrities, but this is following a reality like bachelor style show called Ever After. And our main character Charlie is cast for the Prince Charming and his handler is Dev. Dev is a romantic. He's always believed in fairy tales and he's always been crafting the perfect love story for his clients at the stake of his own love life, basically. And Charlie is not a romantic. He doesn't believe in true love. He's basically put on this show to try to save face because of a situation that happened in like mainstream media. And as Dev tries to get Charlie to reconnect with the contestants on a whirlwind worldwide tour, they begin to open up to each other. And Charlie realizes that he has better chemistry with Dev than any of the contestants. But even reality TV has a script, and in order to find their way to happily ever after, they'll have to reconsider whose love story gets told and why. This book is perfection, and I will hear nothing of it. I love them. I love the situation. The writing is so fun. The overall like trajectory of the story, I was sobbing. I was sobbing at the end. I felt so much and I wasn't expecting any of it. It definitely gives like reality TV vibes, but in a really wholesome way. It has amazing mental health representation and it's just all done so beautifully. I love it. Okay, listen, Snowed In by Catherine Walsh. That's on this list. Wow, I love that book. It is the book that made me realize that if done well, I love fake dating. Wow, I love fake dating. In this story, one of our main characters is Megan, and she is kind of the pariah of her small town because she left her fiance at the altar like a while ago. And whenever she's around, she's just the talk of the town and she hates it. So she hates going home for Christmas, basically. And now the man that she left at the altar is engaged again, which is a whole nother level of this story that is just drama. It's all drama. Her love interest is Christian, who is alone every single Christmas and is kind of sick of his parents giving him those sad puppy dog eyes of like how bad they feel for him, basically. Even though he has no problem with his own lifestyle, he's just sick of it from his family. And it says because he's actually totally fine. So when Megan literally bumps into Christian in the Dublin pub, they come up with a pact to see them through the holiday season. They're going to be the very best fake dates for each other ever. Rules are drawn up, a contract is signed on a wine-stained napkin, and they will sit through each other's family gatherings and be outrageously in love until freed from their annual obligations. After all, it's only for a few weeks. And ultimately, things get very messy, and these two end up snowed in a cabin for days. And it's so good. It's so good. I haven't read a whole ton of fake dating, but I have read a few where, I don't remember which ones, but I have read some where it's just not believable, and it's just not written well. But I honestly loved this fake dating in Snowed In. I don't love holiday romances. I'm not drawn to them, at least. They give very much like Hallmark vibes and that's not my energy, but Snowed In, really good. Okay, just like I said, Emily Henry is my girl, Abby Jimenez is also my girl, and Part of Your World is the book for me. I remember being so far up Emily Henry's butt, saying that she is the only romance author for me, like I am just through and through a Emily Henry girl. And then I read Part of Your World and I was like, oh my god, there are other romance authors that give me this same feeling. Abby Jimenez was that second author for me. This is very much a like small town boy and big city girl. They meet out of like crazy circumstances. Her car broke down on the side of a like country road and he comes by and tries to help change her tire and she's like, what are you doing out here? How do you know that I'm here? Like, are you following me? And he's like, no, I literally just live here. Let me fix your tire for you. And she's like, no, I'll call someone. And he's like, I know that you don't have service. And even if you did, the only guy around here that can help you is probably at the only bar around here, 5 drinks deep or something. So he changes her tire, takes her back to said bar, and they talk. They get to know each other. And thus begins a whirlwind of a romance. She comes from a wealthy like doctor family. She is a doctor herself. And he is the like everything of this small town. I think he's even like the mayor. Her parents have put a lot of pressure on her to become this like world-renowned surgeon doctor, but she is okay with where she's at and she's fine with being an ER doctor, but she still occasionally gives in to, you know, the whims and the pressures of her parents. However, every minute she spends with Daniel and the tight-knit town where he lives, she's discovering what's really more important. But letting their relationship turn into anything longer than a short-term fling would mean turning her back on her family and giving up the opportunity to help thousands of people. Bringing Daniel into her world is impossible, and yet she can't just give up the joy she's found with him either. With so many differences between them, how can Alexis possibly choose between her world and his? I love the trajectory of this book. I love them together. There is a little bit of toxicity because she just got out of a really horrible relationship, and she doesn't have the best like girlfriends either. Like there are some really toxic things that are going on in this book, but also a lot of really wholesome and sweet and lovely things as well. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, the other one that just makes me want to cry every time I think about it. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Aquake Azi. I love everything that they write. I really do. But this one holds a very vital part in my heart. This book has an age gap romance, which I typically actually kind of avoid. I don't really love them. However, I have never once seen grief written so perfectly and seen myself and related to something so heavily as much as I had with this book. Like I ugly cried. I am just so grateful that I was able to read this book in my lifetime. Truly, like, it helped me heal and understand a lot of grief that I carry with me. This one is following our main character, Faye, who is sort of wanting to learn how to live life again. It's been 5 years since she lost the love of her life in a really brutal accident, and she is still grappling with the grief and emotion surrounding that incident. Faye is an artist, and over the last 5 years, she now has her own studio. She lives with her best friend, Joy, who is very encouraging of her to, you know, get back out there and start to live her life again. She isn't necessarily like ready for anything serious, but she is open to just like a fling, you know, try to just dip her toes in the water, so to say. And a steamy situation in a bar kind of catapults her into this situationship now, where she's going on a luxury trip with decadent meals to the home of like a brilliant chef who also is a major art curator. So she sees it as a networking opportunity and she says yes, and she goes with this new like fling of hers. And she's actually feeling pretty good about all of it, including the romance that she has with this new guy that is bringing her to this lovely island. However, the moment she gets there, it's all sabotaged because the moment she locks eyes with his father, she knows that they're doomed. They just have this instant connection and it becomes a lot more complicated. But we follow Faye during this complicated situation, but also on this island where she's creating this installation that is like manifesting her grief and her growth. And it's beautiful. It is so well written and it is so good. It's just so good. Like, even if you don't love age gap, but you don't mind like a little bit of messy family drama and you like deeper topics discussed in your romance books, like I think that you could like it. Because again, I don't love age gap, but it didn't bother me here. I just loved every single thing about this book so much that, you know, it wasn't even a thought to me, even though it's like a major part of the book. Yeah, just really grateful that I was able to read this book in my lifetime because forever favorite. Another book that I ate it up is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. And listen, I have not liked other books by this author, but this one was a breath of fresh air. I adored it. The audiobook is so much fun because it involves a radio show. So our male main character is the host of this radio show. His name is Aidan Valentine, and the segment that he has is Heartstrings. However, he has a secret, and it's that he has fallen out of love with love. So his segment is kind of like tanking in views. Like, he's just not doing it. He's not all there. But when a young girl calls into the station asking for dating advice for her mom, the interview goes viral, thrusting Aidan and Heartstrings into the limelight, and therefore our female main character, Lucy Stone. She was doing just fine. She has a good job, an incredible family, and a smart, slightly devious kid. But when all of Baltimore is suddenly scrutinizing her love life and lack thereof, she begins to question if she's as happy as she thought. Maybe a little more romance wouldn't be such a bad thing. So then everyone wants Lucy to find her happy ending. The radio show invites her to have her own segment with Aidan in the same booth on live air. And when sparks start to fly behind the scenes, Lucy must make the final call between the radio-sponsored Happily Ever After or the man in the headphones next to her. And it's so cute. I love so much about the book. It has great adult relationship situations. Like, she has a kid, but is now divorced from that man, and they do co-parent really well. They like live next to each other, and it's a really healthy situation. And she is like a mechanic. She's a badass woman doing her own thing, but she finds that like, yeah, maybe I am missing something that I haven't let myself think about for so long. And Aidan is also just like little bah humbuggy about everything. And they just mesh so well together. I love their energy. I love how everything ended up unfolding. I loved all of the discussions that we have. And the audiobook was so good because during the radio show, there would be like little sound effects and music. I think there was music, definitely sound effects. But yeah, if you want like a little romance audiobook, for sure check this one out. I had a grand old time. I loved it. Another romance that I absolutely love is Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola. This is a YA romance and I truly love this book so much. It is set at a college and we have our main character, Kiki Banjo. She's sharp-tongued but secretly soft-hearted, and she's just made a huge mistake. She's an expert in relationship evasion and the host of the popular student radio show Brown Sugar. She's made it her mission to make sure the women of the African Caribbean Society at Whitewall College in southern England do not fall for the mess of situationships, players, and heartbreak. But when the queen of the unbothered kisses Malachi, the guy she just publicly denounced as the waste man of Whitewall, in front of everyone on air, and then kisses him on campus, she finds her show now on the brink because she like went directly against what she was just telling everyone to avoid. They're soon embroiled in a fake relationship to try to salvage their reputations and save their futures. Kiki has never surrendered her heart before, and a player like Malachi won't be the one to change that, no matter how charming he is or how electric their connection feels. But surprisingly, entertaining study sessions and intimate late-night talks at old-fashioned diners force Kiki to look beyond her own presumptions. Is she ready to open up herself to something deeper? Kiki and Malachi have some of the best banter and communication that I've read in a long time, and even since then. Like, I keep coming back to this book for those two things specifically. Love them as separate characters, love their banter and arguments together, but the arguments and banter also lead to great communication. Like, it is a YA romance, but it reads older because they are just mature characters, for the most part. The last book that's on this list is sort of telling even more of what type of romance is, and like romance leaning stories that I really enjoy, and sometimes they lean a little bit into just contemporary fiction, just lit fic, which is where I kind of think that this one lies mostly. Like, I think it's literary fiction but with romance. It's called Writers and Lovers by Lily King. Like, it is inherently like a love story, but it also is sort of just like a character study and a slice of life for this young woman that we're following. And I read this so long ago, and it just still holds that 5-star feeling in my heart whenever I think about it. Like, this first sentence of this synopsis is just so what I love. It says, blindsided by her mother's sudden death and wrecked by a recent love affair, 31-year-old Casey Peabody has arrived in Cambridge, Massachusetts in the summer of 1997 without a plan beyond a determination to live a creative life. This is a novel that explores artistic passion, ambition, and the terrifying and exhilarating leap between the end of one phase of life and the beginning of another. It has such good insight and just beautiful writing. I remembered falling in love with the writing even on page 1. Flipping through my annotations is actually so cute. I haven't done that in a while for this book. I remember Casey being a really complicated character because she is grappling with so much emotion and trying to figure out where she's supposed to be and also where she wants to be, but she doesn't know how to get there. The romance that is in this book is just messy and very real. As she's going through all of these emotions and grappling with where she came from a toxic, awful relationship and situation, and where she wants to be as an artist and just a healthier and happier person. But in order to get there, she has to go through a lot of grief and growth, and Lily King does that so well. This is a great book. I will always stand by it. It's 5 stars. It's on this list. And with that, we have my 10 favorite romances ever, as of right now, in this time and space. Let me know if you agree with any of these, or if you want to directly recommend me a romance book, like, let me know down in the comments. I would love to see what you guys could come up with. But on that note, if you don't know what else to say down below in the comments, just leave me your favorite heart emoji. And while you're down there, please do subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another, and happy reading. Bye!